Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast, powered by C-Crew. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Steve Greiwe of RetireMed. He shares how they help individuals and businesses navigate Medicare and individual health insurance plans. We are also joined by Lyons of ATech Training, who shares how they're creating better tools and experiences for educators in the automotive industry. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, C-Crew, Google and Amazon advertising experts, and Schneller Knockelman. Our next government forum is happening on Friday, August 15th. We hope you'll join us for a candid conversation with Congressman Andy Barr about what's been happening in Washington and what it means for Kentucky businesses, especially right here in NKY. You can register and learn more at nkychamber.com/events. Now, let's go meet our members of the week, hear from our sponsors, and I'll be back with this week's guests.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C-Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C-Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C-Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Chamberlain Owen is a certified public accounting firm with more than 20 years accounting, tax, and assurance services to Northern Kentucky and Greater Cincinnati. InSafe began as a two-person firm in 1980 and now has more than 450 employees and offices nationwide. They are a recognized leader in providing engineering, environmental, health and safety, and technology consulting services. Bright Arrow Coaching elevates the architects of your company's growth through strategic investments in professional development and guides executives to deliver better business outcomes while experiencing professional growth. America's River Roots Festival is a signature event for America's 250th celebration, taking place from October 8th through 12th, 2025 in Covington, Newport, and Cincinnati. Northern Kentucky Federal Credit Union is a full-service financial institution serving the Northern Kentucky area and has provided service to the tri-state since 1972. Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, we have Steve Greiwe of RetireMed. Steve, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys inviting us to do the podcast with you.
Yeah, well, we are excited to have you on. We are talking about, obviously, RetireMed and Medicare. This can be such a complicated topic for employers and employees. So jump right in. Tell us a little bit about the services that you offer and what types of organizations do you guys work with?
Sure. I'm going to give a little background first.
Yeah.
RetireMed's been around since 2007. We're one of the leading providers in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana when it comes to Medicare and individual health insurance plans. Those people that are making the process into going to Medicare, or somebody that's looking to do early retirement, or a small business that's looking for health insurance for their employees. We work with the HR departments in that process for the employees to make a smooth transition into Medicare.
Yeah. Like I said, it can be really complicated. I know I've had some people come on and talk about the complicated process before. Tell us a little bit about the benefits of working with RetireMed when it comes to this.
The beauty of working with RetireMed, we take all that complexity and confusion and just throw it off to the side and work with each employer and employee to take the enrollment periods and how you're supposed to do the various plans and so on and so forth. And it's a great transition for all the employees, and it also takes off a lot of the heavy lifting for the HR department.
Yeah, and that's a vital service, especially when we're talking about like small to mid-sized businesses when they're dealing with this. Tell us a little bit, so for the employer perspectives, like tell us how you work to roll out this with businesses.
Sure. It's a various process and five-step approach that we use. That approach is working, of course, with the HR department and the in the business or healthcare provider, and we do the transition of webinars. I was at today. Today, I was at the city of Miamisburg doing a wellness event. Doing that wellness event, we were able to talk to all those folks that are either looking to do early retirement or they're looking to go to Medicare. And so we train the employees and work with those employees, and we give that employee of that particular business a support mechanism for the rest of their life. Again, I know it sounds like a plug, but it's zero cost to the employees, zero cost to the business. We get paid by the insurance companies that they choose, not us. They choose which particular provider they want to use.
Yeah. And so when you're working with employees, you're working with employers as well. But especially for employees, when you're trying to like educate them and tell them about this, what certain things do you think are important to know? What sort of things are you telling these employees?
The big thing is we've got a customer care representative that takes that employee on. They can facilitate, going online with us and doing a call like we're doing here, the Zoom call, or they can actually go to our Blue Ash offices, or if it's in the Dayton area, then we've got a Dayton office as well. Some people are old school and they like that face-to-face interaction. So we take the employees not literally by the hands, but in a sense we do, being able to fill in all those coverage gaps and understanding of what's going on. The thing we always tell a lot of those employees or employers, tell that person to just take all that garbage that comes in and just throw it in the wastebasket because we're going to take care of it for you.
Yeah, I bet that is a big helping hand, especially when it comes to that transition. One of the things that you're helping, and kind of the core of this, is you're helping employees transition from employer sponsored healthcare to Medicare. Tell us a little bit about that process, how you guys ensure that's a smooth process.
It's a smooth process because what we're doing is we're working with those HR departments and let them know, of course, the financial benefits of that employee moving in a transition to Medicare. We're also then working with the employee itself so they have an understanding of why I need to make this transition into Medicare. And again, like I said, it's a five-step process that we work with each of those employees to make sure that they have a clear understanding of the transition. And we also work with the HR departments to educate them. We've got documents and quick reads where HR departments can read the Medicare 101 for HR departments, understanding the financial savings from that organization, understanding the legal steps that you need to make to cover that employee and also that particular employer.
And you mentioned the financial benefits. Touch on that a little bit more.
It comes out to about $17,000 a year, depending on the organization and how large the organization is. Which in return, that can be to a small to medium sized business that can be very daunting when you have four or five employees making that transition to Medicare for you.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit more. And you touched on this a little bit at the beginning of the podcast. What types of organizations work with you? What type of clients do you guys take on?
We take on any size client. My role here at RetireMed is looking at employers that have 250 employees or more, but that doesn't stop there. We basically push that back to another group here at RetireMed that will help the smaller businesses help their employees make that transition. So that's basically my role. Am I an all expert when it comes to Medicare? No, but it's my job to bring the right people to the table so there's a clear understanding and an education that needs to be done between the employer and those employees.
Yeah. And what kind of advice do you have for either people going through this or businesses that are looking to get a helping hand in this process?
Partnering with a long established company like RetireMed. Like I said earlier, we've been around since 2007. We've got over 65,000 clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And we we're very confident that partnering with that particular employee and the actual employee themselves, it's going to be a very rewarding thing, as corny as it may sound.
Yeah, well, it is very valuable. I know that's a lot of time, a lot of confusion when it comes into those transitions. So, for people who are interested in getting more information about retirement, how can they get in touch?
If it's an employer, they would go ahead and get a hold of me, S Greiwe, Greiwe at retiremed.com. Or if it's all, they can also go through the website, retiremed.com, and that's also, the employees can do the same, uh, getting a hold of us.
Okay, well, that makes it really easy. So, Steve, thank you so much for your time today. Before I let you go, is there anything else you think our members need to know about RetireMed?
One of the questions we didn't touch on, which I want to touch on, is what's the fun fact about retirement that I can speak of? Believe it or not, two employees came on board with retirement, me being one of them. I decided last year that I was going to retire, and I found out it was very boring. But I went through the process with retirement and said, "Wow, what a neat way of approach and understanding," because I couldn't even spell Medicare when that time came. So, I said, what a neat place to work for, too. So I made the transition of working in the cybersecurity world to working with retirement. So it's a little
Yeah,
fun fact.
that is a really fun fact, and that is just such a testimonial to the great work that they do, and that you
Yes.
guys are doing over there for your clients. So, Steve, it was absolutely great to have you on today. Thank you so much for your time.
And I thank you as well.
Hi, everyone. Today we have Laura Lyons of ATech Training on the podcast. Laura, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here, Sarah.
It is so great to have you. ATech Training, you guys have been in the area for 40 plus years. You guys just celebrated that big milestone last year. First, I want to say congratulations. That's a really big milestone, but tell us a little bit about what you guys do and who you are.
Sure. Well, ATech Training was founded in 1984, and it was founded by educators who essentially felt that they could do a better job for other educators in the industry. And it kind of was when computers basically first came into vehicles. So they wanted to go out there and provide these complete solutions for these educators and technicians, training technicians and students in the field.
Yeah, and that's very vital. Like you said, computers and cars. It's crazy to think that we have, the one in my husband's car is huge. There's a lot of things that go into that.
Absolutely. And there actually is 90 to 120 of those in your car right now, just so you know.
Not just the big one that I have the touch screen for.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us a little bit. So you're working to train people who are going to be technicians. Tell us a little bit about all of the work that goes into that.
Sure. Well, there's obviously, you have to look at what the industry, and everything's predicated on usually the ASC, which is the standards for all of the technicians and their performance tasks. So a lot of that is closely related to that, to fill those needs as new technologies become available. That's what drives, what trainers and how we develop it, and that's what kind of is the heartbeat of what we follow for development.
Yeah. That's very exciting that you guys are like at the very forefront of technology. I'm sure you guys have to stay like really nimble. How are you guys staying on top of that?
Sure. Well, it's a combination because some of our team, they obviously have been instructors. They may be actual technicians and keep their certifications up, but they attend training. And we also will go to, whether it's conferences, but we're also members of some of these associations, like on ASC, or serve on boards. So we really try to keep close to that innovation and what's coming out in the market.
Mm-hmm. What are you seeing now as you look down the pipeline of like what new technology is coming into the automotive sector?
Well, this industry is changing faster than any other industry. To me and our teammates, this is exciting because we get electrical, mechanical, HVAC, and IT all rolling down the road at one time. So a lot of people, it's autonomous vehicles, that's some of it, but you're still seeing a lot of emerging technologies with the different fuels. And I think that's exciting. It's kind of like at the beginning of automotive, where they were doing steam or all these other type fuels. So we're seeing that as well.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot is going on. I know my father-in-law works in the automotive industry, and he says things. I'm like, there's no way, that someday most of our cars will be automotive, or there'll be some type of hybrid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's some hybrid even right now. So we're doing everything from EV to hybrid. Obviously, we had the first LPG biofuel trainer. So we're really trying to get in there. So we try to be first to market, explore it. If there's a need, then we're going to try to fill that for the training.
Yeah, and that's vital, I'm sure, for all of these industries happening close to us. So when you're thinking about the trainers that you have within ATech, what makes them stand out to you when you think about trainers across the globe?
Sure, and it is a very niche industry, to your point. There's probably less than 10 that do what we do in the world. Probably the number one thing that was the driving thing, was to have the quality. I mean, we will have people from, Malaysia call us and want to buy our trainers halfway around the world because of that name recognition, the quality, and the service and what comes with the trainer. Not just the trainer, it's all of the coursework so that the instructor knows how to implement that in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just the know-how. You guys have said that you place a big emphasis on the community culture and the company culture.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what your culture is like and how you're building that.
Sure. And I think, we're about 45 members strong, so we're not very large, but our team pretty much has had people from all over the world come visit us. They're very attuned to the customers, and they basically interface with them when they come through the tour. So they understand, they very much want to fulfill the customer satisfaction, that we're doing a good job. And each team member, when they build a trainer, their name's on the inside of that trainer and the person that checked it out. So that's very personable when you think of that.
Yeah, it's really hands-on. And I'm sure that drives a lot of your mission. So tell us a little bit about that aspect of it.
Well, the hands-on in terms of what the development is, because this is a hands-on industry, you can't repair something remotely. So a lot of it is they have to first understand how the technology works, and that's what the trainer is supposed to do. You're pretty much pulling it out of a vehicle. So that will shorten the amount of time for learning. But once they understand how it works, then we also have a troubleshooting component in it, so they can practice, like, what are some of the common failures, and they can practice that, so that when they actually get to the vehicle, that will speed up the time to where they really can repair them.
Yeah, and when it comes to repairs on very high-tech technology, I'm sure it is important to do that as quickly as possible. And I feel like you guys are in such a great location here in Northern Kentucky. The automotive industry here in the state and kind of around this region, I think, is a lot bigger than people expect. How does that play into your business?
Very much, because, and I'm proud that, Kentucky has it, I don't know if we're third or fourth, but in the country, and a lot of people, I think, don't really realize that. Mm. But, where we're located is very prime for manufacturing anyway, because, you're thinking 2/3 of the population. And so when you're thinking distributing them, that's very advantageous to, be in a location to do that. But we're also in one of the original manufacturing belts. I didn't know that before, but you think about it, generation. I can't say that, right? Generationally, we kind of have a lot of that skill set built in with a lot of manufacturing. Mm-hmm. And so I think we kind of take advantage of it, because we're pulling people from Ohio, sometimes Indiana, and Kentucky for our workforce.
Yeah, and you guys are making a really big impact on the automotive industry because of all the things that you're doing. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about the reach that you guys have.
Well, we sell everywhere. We've had 7 projects in Egypt. We just shipped something to Jordan. We provide to a lot of different countries. So, that in itself shows you, as I talked about, like people coming from Malaysia, Japan. We've sold them everywhere for years. And I think sometimes it's hard because you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, we have this global reach. And we really are trying to set the bar. Our folks are really, they really take that to heart, that we're raising the bar, we're setting the bar, saying this is the standard. Mm-hmm. Because you want to impact it globally. But you forget sometimes they are going to these places, right?
Yeah, just from Northern Kentucky, yes, out into the world for more than 40 years.
Yes.
Incredible work that you guys are doing over there at ATech. And Laura, it's been great to have you on.
Well,
before I let you go, for people that want to learn more about you guys, maybe want to see, inside the
Sure.
facility and stuff like that, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I would invite them first to come to our website. the ATech training. There's some video there that'll kind of show them that, but they're, just send us an email, reach out to us at social media. We have all those links in there too. And we do a lot of tours. So, we've done it for the community, and of course we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, and one of the other things I know you wanted to talk about too, you mentioned the community.
Yes.
You guys have been here for 40 years. You guys are well established in the region. Tell us how you guys are giving back. Tell us how you interact with the community.
Well, you mentioned a little bit about the hands-on. That's kind of how we do our community outreach, I guess, because we're more hands-on. That kind of helps. So we've done quite a few STEM. We've worked with the Girl Scouts to introduce them to valve cover racing. We've donated a tractor, so we work with them for that event. And we've done STEM with like Rosie's Girls. Northern Kentucky Chamber has done STEM. So our folks, that they understand that. So we've done a lot of those activities. But we also like to do things within our local community. We're based in Walton. So we have done like Wake Up Walton, even if it's just going out in the community, and that's like really helping the elderly with their lawns and that. I mean, we try to do some things in anything because, we can't do everything, but we still can have an impact.
Yeah, and that's so important to hear. I love hearing that, Laura. And before I let you go, is there anything else you think our members need to know about you or about ATech?
Well, there is. I think one of the things was like it came up with one interesting fact about ATech. So I'm going to say we're on every continent except Antarctica. There's still hope.
Yeah, once they get the
Yes.
self-driving cars
exactly.
to take the scientists around and see all their penguins.
We'll do that too.
I love that. Well, Laura, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank you.
podcast today.
Appreciate it.
Chris Knockelman with Schneller Knockelman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. It's spring now, but before you know it, our ACs are working overtime.
Dave, it's going to be warm soon.
Right now is a good time to get the AC serviced, right?
You can get your AC tuned up for only $59.
So get your $59 tune-up at
SKPHA.com. SKPHA. So if your plumbing and mechanical systems give you trouble, just remember our name. Schneller Knockelman.
Northern Kentucky needs tailored solutions to address our housing shortage. Home for All, Northern Kentucky Housing Strategies, explores how we can retain young adults, help older residents downsize or age in place, and ensure new neighbors have housing options that fit their lives. Dive into the report at housingNKY.org. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning into today's episode of the podcast as we learned more about RetireMed and ATech training. And thank you once again to our podcast sponsors, C-Crew and Schneller Knockelman. Like I said, our next government forum is happening on Friday, August 15th. You will not want to miss out on this great conversation with Congressman Andy Barr. You can learn more and register at nkychamber.com/events. And finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber, we encourage you to reach out to Lynn Ablin. And our members that would like to share their workforce strategies and resources on our Talent Strategies Spotlight can reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen or at our staff directory at nkychamber.com. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.